my upline. And so she was doing Arbonne for a little bit, and I was like so excited for her, so happy for her, but I was also like, I thought that I honestly thought everybody in Arbonne were just like stay-at-home moms. Like at the time, I was like, I don't understand why I would do this right now when I have a corporate job. Like, why would I need to do this? And so I said no to her a million times. And eventually she ended up actually bringing me with her on an AIT trip that she had earned in Jamaica. And she brought me with her as her guest. And before the trip, I was like, Hilly, please don't try to get me to do Arbonne on this trip. Like, I am not going to do this with you. Just don't even try. And she was like, okay. But, at the time I was like, I just really need a break from my job. I'm so exhausted and all the things. And so I go on this trip. She didn't have to do anything. The trip itself like spoke for itself, and just meeting all the people there in the community and just like sitting at the pool and being like sitting on chairs right next to other, Arbonne girls that were just like, they're just sitting there working on their phone and they're making money and I'm like, so this is just your job. Like, you're working right now. This is how you work. It's how you make money. And I was just all of a sudden like hit with the reality of like, what the heck am I doing at home? Like, I'm literally just like sitting in a cubicle for 8, 9 hours a day. And I am so actually not happy with what I do. I don't even know why I work there. Like, I was all of a sudden like, what am I doing? I should be making money on this pool chair like these other people. So um basically, like, I was so stubborn. I almost didn't do it just because I was like, I have said no so many times. I can't just like go back on my word now. But I just, swallowed my pride. We get home from the trip, and right away I tell my husband, I'm like, okay, I need to quit my job and I need to do Arbonne. And he was just like, wait, what? Like, please do not quit your job. And I'm just like, no, I think I'm gonna quit. And like, he knows how impulsive I am. So he was just like, please do not quit. We just bought a house. Like, we need your job. So I was like, okay, well, I will wait till I get to RVP. Basically, I just kind of told him like, I'm doing this. Like, I will get to RVP as fast as I possibly can. And so I just basically jumped in. I told my sister like, okay, how fast can I get there? Like, how fast can I get to region? And she was like, I don't really even know like what the, rules are of like how fast you can get there. But she's like, I think like 4 or 5, like 6 months ish. And I was like, okay, I'm doing it. Like, let's go. So I just like jumped in, and you guys, I was just passion on fire. Like, the craziest part is that I actually did go region 4.5 months after that. And obviously my story is not typical. Go to earnings.arbonne.com to see what's typical. But I want to tell you how I got there, that in that time frame, because people obviously hear that and they're like, wait, how? Like, how the heck did you do that? But you guys, it's like when you are just so on fire and you're so excited and you're so decided that you're doing something, and you're just like there's literally there was nothing that was going to get in my way. There was nothing that was going to stop me. Like, no amount of no's or people that were joining my team and quitting, like, no, nothing was going to stop me. Like, I was getting there no matter what. And so like, if I came up against like a roadblock or something happened, I would just pivot and be like, okay, so like, what's next? Okay, what's next? And really, you guys, like, how I got there is, we always hear in Arbonne, like, you have to get in front of 30 faces a month, like, to be really growing your business. And I had asked my sister, like, okay, how do I go region? And she was like, well, you got to get in front of 30 people a month. And I'm like, okay, well, that like 30 people a month, that's like one person a day ish, right? With like, if you have a 30-day month. And so I was like, okay, so I'll just get in front of like one person a day. So like, I just I just made it so simple in my mind, and there was like nothing complicated about the way I was working my business. I was just like, okay, I need to get in front of one person a day. So how do I get in front of one person a day? I just need to ask as many people as possible so that I can get on the phone with one person the next day. Like, that's just how I knew. And the funny thing is later, years later, when I was going nation, I did the same thing. I just was like, okay, I need to get in front of one person tomorrow. So like, I'm going to send messages all night until I get that one yes. and I would like book it during my lunch break. And I would just at 1 o'clock every single day, I always had a call booked, and I would get on the phone with them and I would just share about, about Arbonne. And we all know it's a numbers game, right? It's the more people you get in front of, the more people are going to say yes. And then the more people are going to join your team. And then like the more people that join your team, the more people are actually going to, do something with it. Cause we all know not everybody who jumps in is going to like be an ace and like going to run with you and all the things. So I just had, there was nothing complicated about it. I had no clue what I was doing. Like my reach outs were like very much like, I would just tell people like, hey, okay, so this is so random. I would do voice notes. I would take a break at work, like on my 10-minute breaks, and I would just be walking around the building doing voice notes. And I was just like an absolute psychopath. And I was like, hey, okay, so this is so random. Like, but I just started this business and I'm so excited about it because like it's gonna help me to like leave my corporate job that I hate. And like I am just so excited about it. And I would straight up tell people like I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm like really just wanting to get in front of people and just share. And I just need people to help me practice. And I just need to share about it with people. And so people were just like, they could hear my excitement and like the urgency. And they were just like, wait, what do I have to do? And I'm like, you just have to get on a call with me. And they're like, okay, sure. Like it was like, at that point, like I said, I had no clue what I was doing, but I wasn't acting like I knew what I was doing either. I just was like, I'm just doing it, and on the phone with people, I had my Is Arbonne for You document. And I would say, okay, I have this document in front of me. I'm just going to read it. And I would just go down the list and I would ask them the questions and be like, so, this is what I'm doing. And then when I would get to the compensation part with the levels, I would just be like, okay, so, district manager, area manager. And I would say, okay, regional vice president. I'd point to that and I'd say, okay, so this is what I'm promoting to by February 28th. And you guys, by the way, when I started to do this, this was October. So I was telling everyone that February 28th, I was going to be a regional vice president and I was going to be making this amount of money, like on the little sheet, like, because I would always like send them the Is Arbonne for You doc so that they could like look at it, or on Zoom, I'd like put it on the screen. And they'd be like, wait, really? Like, wait, didn't you just start? And they're looking at the income levels and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, crazy. I just started. And like, but I am getting there. Like, I don't even know how, but and they'd be like, well, what are you right now? And I'm like, well, I'm a consultant right now, but it's fine. I'm going to get there. And this is what I'm doing. And I'm going to quit my job. And everyone's just like, wow, like, that's pretty crazy. I'm like, yep, we're doing it. And so you guys, I was an independent consultant. Like I was not even a district manager, but I was so sure that I was going to be regional vice president by that day. And you guys, there's something to be said about saying something over and over and over and over again. So I, ended up getting in front of way more than 30 people a month, because I was also doing like in-person events and was doing, virtual events and things like that. So it was like, I was probably getting in front of 50 to 60 people a month. And I was telling every single person that I was going to be regional vice president at that time. And then sure enough, like went area qual that month. People were joining my team because they were like, okay, this girl knows what the heck she's doing. I don't even know what she's doing. I didn't know what I was doing. It was like the blind leading the blind. I swear, people were joining my team and like, hey, so what do I do? I'm like, so you just have to get on 30 calls. And they're like, okay, how do I do it? I'm like, you just ask people. And they're like, okay, sounds good. Like we were all just like jumping in, had no clue what we were doing, but it was so fun. People were joining my team. We were having like the best time, and it was just amazing. So went area qual that like November, finished area in December, went region qual in January, and then finished region in February. So it was just like a whirlwind, but I'm telling you guys, anyone can go region. If you were just to commit, like right now, if you're just like, hey, okay, I'm going to get in front of 30 people every month, and you will get there. I'm telling you, like, I promise you. Like, obviously we can't make these like claims, but the thing is that if you're really real with yourself, when was the last time you actually got in front of 30 people in 1 month? Like, actually shared the Arbonne story and actually asked them to take a look at this, actually said, hey, you should jump in, you should do this with me. It'd be so fun to work with you. Like, when was last time that happened? Because I know for a lot of people, and I know for me in the years between going region and nation, I was not getting in front of 30 people. But that's our system for success, So it's like, anytime anyone on our team is like struggling or they feel like they're in a rut or whatever, we're like, okay, like they'll ask me, what do I do? I'm like, get in front of 30 people. And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's so simple. Like, and the way that you do that is you just ask, right? And I always tell my team, it's like the magic that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. It's like, we all know that to grow, like to grow your team, you just have to ask more people to join you or to take a look at it. Like it's so simple, but we avoid that one thing. I feel like a lot of us spend time just like posting reels and like doing random things that like aren't actually moving the needle, whereas like the main thing that's going to build your team and move the needle is asking people to join you in this business. And so and I built to region with zero social media, like, and not even like a not even saying like, oh, I didn't have a following. Like I actually did not use it one time. Like as far as like I used it, the DMs and stuff to connect with people, but it was like actually a weird like conflict of interest with my job. So like I was not allowed to post that I was doing Arbonne. So I did not post one single time the entire time going region, not one single post. And so we overcomplicate it and we think that we have to have the perfect post and the perfect attraction marketing and all these things, you guys. But like still to this day, even going nation, like I used, social media. I think it's a great tool now. And I do use it as far as like connecting people and adding value and building community. But I still work my business. I built a nation completely belly to belly. I built a nation asking people to join me, hopping on calls with them, having real life conversations with people and seeing if this could be a fit for them. Like that's how I built to nation too. So yes, I use social media more now, but it's really just a tool. It's a connection piece. It's like a way to add value and build community and kind of show the world what you're doing. But I 100% built to nation, belly to belly, talking to people, actually finding those people who are going to bed at night and like are staying up at night thinking about that bill that they can't afford and staying awake at night wondering like how they're going to get to the next step of their life or whatever it is that they want to do. It's like those are the people we're looking for and we have to just go out and find them. Like they're out there. Trust me, they're out there. And so that was when I went to region. And it was really 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 fun times. Honestly, it was just a whirlwind. And I was an RVP for a few years, but we were super consistent, like very like solid strong region. And I was like traveling all over the place and having the best time, and it was just amazing. And then so finally I was like, okay, we need to go nation, like it's time. So I like, rallied the troops, like revved up, like everything. We're like, okay, let's go nation. This was back in 2021. So we actually went nation qual. This is like the craziest story, you guys. So we actually went nation qual. And then the next month, we thought we finished nation. It's like a very, very long, complicated story. But basically, we thought we finished nation and we celebrated on like social media. It was like this whole thing. We had like parties to celebrate, but then like my title like never changed. And so it was like, wait, what's going on? Is there like a weird glitch in the system? But like basically, long story short, I didn't actually promote to nation. I thought I did, and we didn't. So, and yeah, like I said, long story, but it really doesn't matter. But at the time when that happened, just imagine like getting there and feeling like thinking that you're an MVP, telling everybody that you're an MVP, and then you're not. And so it was just honestly one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. Like, I know that sounds like it's like hard to really even grasp what that would feel like, but it was at like a really, really hard time in my life too. Cause at the time I also, we were at like the lowest point in our, my husband and I are on, a pretty much almost 7-year fertility journey at this point. We've been trying to have a baby a long, long time. And at the time that all this happened, I also was finding out that we were going to have to do IVF, and that like, just, I felt like my whole vision of like how we were going to start a family, like that was just completely gone. When all that happened, I felt like my team was very like, we were all just so let down. We were all just like, wait, we just did all that for nothing. Like, wait, what? And so like all the momentum was gone. Ended up like over the next probably 6 months that every single last person on my team quit. like every single person. There was not one single person that was working on my team other than me. And so my numbers dropped all the way from hitting like nation numbers all the way down to hitting like 12,000 a month, which I was like hustling to hit 12,000 a month because it was just me basically doing that. And so I lost my income. I lost my, closest friends who were on my team who, you become like family with your team. So it's like I felt like I lost my friends. I lost my income. I lost it was a very, 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 very low time for me. And I was so depressed. And I had never experienced like a depression like that in my life. And I was just so like could not even get out of bed some days. Like it was really, really, really bad. And I don't even know how do you come back from this? Like how do you rise up from this? Like how would I ever even like go nation or even like I didn't even it was just a really low point. So then I basically had this conversation with someone. She's an NVP, Kelly Junie, and she was just like, Heather, like if you are feeling like this helpless, like you need to become helpful. Like this is the time where you need to really like start to serve those people around you and really figure out like how you can add value to other people's lives because this business, like she just basically put me in check of like you are so making this business about you and it's not about you. Like it is about other people. It's about serving other people. And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like, so you guys, chances are this is like a gut punch, but like if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling like you're not where you want to be in your business and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, my numbers and like, oh my gosh, or like I used to be hitting this and now I'm not, or like whatever it might be, you're making this business about you. And this business is about other people. It's about serving other people. It's about building amazing community. It's about giving people a way out of their situations. It's about, spreading just like this movement that we have to offer of like positivity and just personal growth and community and all the things, right? Like that's what this business is about. And we get to the top, the more people that you help on their health journey to make money, to build community, the more people you help, like that's what's getting you closer to the top, right? It's not about you. And so I had completely made this about me. And so I basically started to, at the time, this was like in the summer of 2021, and I just started to share on social about like mental health and about my fertility journey. And I just started to kind of be like super real with like where I was at in my life. And I would be like, okay, guys, like it's been a really rough day today, but like I got outside and I got on a walk. Like if anybody is feeling like they're having a hard day, like maybe go out and like go for a walk. It'll make you feel better. Like I was literally just like, because I remember when she told me like you need to start helping others, I was like, how? Like, how could I possibly help anybody right now? I'm a complete shit show. Like there's no part of me that feels like I have the capacity to help anybody else. But I just started to share, what I was going through. And I started to share that like I was in therapy and that, I was like, guys, if you're like me and it's been years where you've known that you need to start therapy, but you haven't made that freaking appointment. I was like, that was me, but I'm finally in therapy and it's actually really helping. And so I started to just say like, hey, if anyone's in that place, like DM me, I will literally help get you set up with therapy. Like I was just like, just sharing that, and now it's been a few years now, but I've probably helped hundreds of people start therapy now, just from posting about it. And it's not like I make money or anything. I just help kind of bridge that gap of like, I have this thing in my notes where it's like, okay, you click on this and then you type this in and it's like, it's all like, just easy for people. Cause I feel like when you're in that low point of really needing to talk to someone, it's like, sometimes you just don't even really have the capacity to even do that for yourself. So I was like, okay, I am like so unwell, but like, let me try to help other people who are unwell. So I started to do that. I started to share about my fertility journey and people started to like come out of the woodworks and people started to like want to try these products that I was posting about and wanting to join my team and wanting to, be a part of this community that I was talking about. And we just slowly started to like build up again, and about like, so then I guess a couple years after that, it was just a very steady growth and it was just building. And you guys, it was literally, I was building my team back up purely from serving others. I did not even give an F about my volume at that time. Like, I just was like, at the end of the month was like, oh, like we actually, wow, we did like, we actually had a really good month. And like, but I just was so focused on serving others. And you guys, the crazy thing is I actually lost my region while we were in like full momentum. Like, we were in full momentum, but I start my numbers, like, my performance account, like it had like dwindled down. So I knew, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm about to lose my region. But I was like, I don't care, because titles do not define you. Your numbers do not define you at all. We think that they do, but they don't, you guys. Like, what defines us is who you are as a person and how many people that you are helping and serving and helping to grow. Like, your title does not matter. And so I lost my region, but I was in so much momentum at the time. Our team was growing that I was like, I don't really even care. I lost it. And then it was like, oh, okay. I woke up the next day. Okay, nothing's changed. Let's just get back out there and help other people. And then I ended up going region qual like the next month, and then finished the next month and got it right back. So it was like, okay, whatever. That was fine. And then it was shortly after that like I really started to push for nation again. This was like in the summer of 2023. And I was like, I was still just kind of doing my thing. I was like posting value, you guys. And I have to just tell you that every single person on here has so much value to give and so much value to add to others. And I remember there being a time where I was like, what value do I have? Right? Like, when I was just explaining that. But like, really easy ways that you can add value is like, like if you're, let's say your post, like we're so used to like you go on a family vacation, right? And you like are posting all these pictures. Okay, instead of just posting pictures of like a family vacay, post like travel hacks that you've come across. Post like discounts of like anything that you've done to like book that vacation. Like, post links to like the cute outfits that you're wearing. It's like, that's how you start to really add value of like in anything that you're doing. So like, if you're new to adding value, anything that you're about to post, think to yourself, okay, how can I turn this into value? Because social media is just so like highlight reel, highlight reel, highlight reel. And like, people just are like, dude, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But then like, if they're constantly going to your page and they're seeing like, oh, these like helpful things, or these like funny things, or these cool things, like that's how you're going to start to build that no trust that we're looking for, or that people are looking for. And that's how you're going to start to build your team. It's like I said, serving others in any way possible, like in any way that you can possibly think of, just be serving others. And so as we started to push for nation, I was still just like adding value, all the things. I was like declaring it on social media, and I'm like, hey, we're going nation. This is like in June of 2023 of last year. And then we came up like way short. Like, but I was like posting every single day, like, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. And like, literally, I think we got like a little over halfway. And I was just like, okay, that was like really embarrassing. Like, I kind of thought that we were going to do it, but okay, well, I guess we just got to keep going. So then like July comes and I'm like, okay, we're doing this. Like, we're going to do it, whatever. Like, so we were like getting really close, like around then, like but we just kept coming up short. Like in August, we were 20 kits away from going into qual, 20 kits. And I just remember being like, okay, like, what is happening? We kept getting closer and closer and closer, where it was like, we were so close to hitting this goal. And I'm like, there's something missing, right? Like, I'm just, we're just, I guess we're not ready, or like whatever it was. So then I just realized again, you guys, like I had a coaching call with, or like a call that Coach Jerry Rosenthal, he led for our team. And he just said, you are builders of people. You're not just sellers of products. And I was so convicted by that, because I was like, yeah, like again, somewhere along the way, I've started to make this about me again. Like, how did that happen? Because I was like so obsessed with like serving others for so long. And then like all of a sudden, as I started to push for this goal, it was like, I was like, went back to just like focusing on me again, And so I'm like, no wonder I'm not hitting this goal, because like, I'm not making it about me. And so then I basically went back to what I was doing when I'm a region, and I started sending like psycho voice notes again. And I just was like, hey, like I'm going for this big goal. And I just like, and I would just kind of share with them. I would, in my voice note, I would just say all the reasons why I think that they're amazing and why I think that they'd be so good at what I do. And I would, essentially just say like, okay, I know you're, I would kind of like address a hesitation right there. I would say, I know you're probably listening to this thinking I'm insane because I know you have 3 kids and you're so busy, but like, I'm telling you, busy people are the best at Arbonne or whatever. Like, I would kind of like debunk a hesitation right there. And then I would say, okay, I have no idea if this would be a fit for you or not, but I promise it's worth taking a serious look at. So that's like my ultimate tagline now. I have no idea if this is a fit for you or not, but I promise it's worth taking a serious look at. And again, just like when I was going region, I was like declaring a goal. I was telling like, this is what I'm doing, this is when I'm doing it. And I'm just looking for people to like, hear more about this. And so I ended up sponsoring 9 new consultants in 1 week. And it was 9 consultants and 16 PCs in 1 week. And that was because I was actually making about other people again. And I was serving others. And I was like, hey, like, I feel like this could really help you in like, these ways. And I was getting on calls with people. A lot of them, literally 16 closed it as PCs, 9 as ICs. And you guys, I had sponsored probably 3 direct consultants in a year prior to that. 3 direct consultants. And then I did 9 in 1 week, just from energy, excitement, serving others, making it about them, and asking people to do this with me. And so 9 new consultants signed up, 16 PCs. That was in October of this past year. And then November, I'm like, okay, now we're really going nation now. Like now we have, this, like, I felt like we had a gap to fill. And I felt like, okay, like that, I was the gap. Of course, like you're always the gap. You're always the gap in your goals. Okay. It's not your team that needs to show up more. It's not, oh, if your clients would just restock this month, it's the gap is you. And so I just was like, wow, okay. So we filled this gap, but I kept going. I kept going with those reach outs. I ended up in November sponsoring 27 direct PCs and 3 new direct ICs, which again, so now at that point it's 12 in like 5 weeks, when again it was 3 in a year. December I directly sponsored 22 PCs and 3 new ICs. So I just like kept going with that. We ended up going into Nation Qual in November and we finished Nation in December and we did it like with ease that time. I mean, like, yeah, it was definitely down to the last day, but like we blew past it both months. So it was like, the gap was me. The gap is always you. The gap is always serving more people. It's always about finding more people to change their life. Like that is always your gap between you and any promotion, is how many people can you find that you can serve and that you can change their life. Like that is what that gap is. And so, and you guys think about it, like when you're posting on your social media, and you might all the time be saying like, you can join me. Like I'm looking for people to add to my team. Like you could be sharing that, but think of the person on the other side of that screen. You guys look at how much personal growth that you probably have done since you started Arbonne, and even just, you probably can think about before you started and to now, and you're probably like, wow, yeah, I'm like a different person. So the people on the other side of that screen, you guys, like they don't believe in themselves. They don't know that they can do this. They don't know that they have what it takes. Like you have to ask them, because so many people that I had those conversations with when I actually was sending those asks were like, oh my gosh, like I have been watching you for years and like it means so much to me that you think I'd be good at this, because like I've always wanted to do this, but I just didn't think I'd be good at it. And like those people have just been waiting for me to actually directly ask them and like pour into them and tell them why I think that they'd be amazing, and giving them that little bit of confidence that they needed to be able to say yes to something like this. So if you don't ask them, like they don't know that they could do this. They don't know if they would be good at it or not. They're watching and like maybe wishing that they could do what you do, but not thinking that they could. So you just have to go out and ask them. And so I basically was just, I think another thing, you guys, is you have to give yourself permission to fail. Like you just have to. You absolutely like if you're avoiding failure, you're also avoiding success. So if you know it's time to level up in your business, but you're like scared to go for it because you're like, oh, well, what if I like go for it and I declare it and I don't hit it? Like, then you're never going to hit it, because if you're avoiding failure, you're also avoiding success. If I hadn't like gone for it all those months in a row, literally like 6 months in a row, where I was like fully publicly announcing it and fully failing publicly, like, and the amount of people who ended up joining my team being like, oh, well, like you just normalized failure so much. Like, I'm not afraid to fail anymore. Like, I always was afraid to jump in to do this because I thought, like, what if I try this and I fail at it? They're like, but now I'm seeing that, like, you can't fail if you just keep trying. Like, if you just keep going for it, you can't fail. And so, you know, there's so much, like, so much of the magic that you're wanting is in failure. So much of the magic of what you're wanting is in the work that you're avoiding. And you guys, success is built on a pile of failures, quite literally. And so I always think about it as like, you
Yeah.
know, if there's ever been a time where you feel like you have been like buried, like there was that time in my life where I was the lowest of lows and I felt like I'd been buried. Really, I had just been planted. And like I was just planted. I was building, growing my roots. I was figuring out what this business really meant to me. I was figuring out how to work this business in a way that's actually serving others, that's not just serving myself. It was everything. Like I look back at that time now and I'm so grateful for that time because like I was not half the leader as I am now back then. Like I think about if I would have actually gone nation back in 2021 and I'm like, I was not ready. Like I was not ready at all. Like I didn't even know the true like meaning of this business back then. Like I just was like, I was not doing this to serve others, like realistically. So um I guess that's really all I have. I'm so grateful that you guys listened to my whole story, and I hope that you guys got something out of this. And seriously, like normalize failure. Failure is freaking awesome. It is so inspiring to people, and like letting people in on that journey and like watching you be vulnerable and watching you go for big scary things, like that might even just be what people need to even like join you in the first place, is just watching you go for it. So thanks so much, you guys, for having me on. I love you guys. Love you, Glenna. Thanks for asking me.
Thank you so much, Heather. We've got so much. Well, I have got so much value. Put your hands up if you have. One in the chat.
Oh my gosh,
Oh God,
thanks
I
you
feel like you're
guys.
running from like right now. Thank
Yay.
you. You can go to sleep now.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. I appreciate you so
Of
much.
course. Love you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.